And welcome back to the Lit Lane Jury Box. Good evening and welcome back. We have reconvened, or we reconvening for night court, you guys. We have to pick up where we left off on the best of testimonies from the Burn Power trial. Hey, pretty Aunt Shani. Hey, and Renee. Okay, and Renee, I know you're at work. Good. Hey, Kurt Vixen. Baby, if y'all hear this puppy crying, that's because they just so mean to him around here. Hold on. Apollo, they don't want you. They so mean to you. Come over here with mommy. Come over here. Okay. Hey, Tiki. They are so mean to the little puppy, Apollo. Hey, Living. Rock is mean to him. Champ is mean to him. My son keep locking him out. Everybody mean to the puppy child. You want to get up here? I'll let y'all see Apollo this week sometime. So, when we left off on the Burn trial, the case against Melody Farris, the first of her adult kids, Chris, was on the stand. And the general consensus for the Lit Lane jury box, including me, Judge D. Lit, is that he comes across very entitled. He comes across as more than just entitled. He comes across as I don't know, kind of too. Now, this is my opinion. He comes across kind of manipulative and sneaky. It's something about his testimony that just doesn't sit with me like it's genuine. So far he testified, and it seemed like the mom is the worst person in the world. Mom is the problem for everything. Mom is the one who's no good. Dad was perfect, and yes, dad is unalive. Yes, mom is on trial for that act. Right? I get that. But at the same time, it's just something very disingenuous about him that I'm picking up from him. He was a big time moocher. It seemed to be like his dad was affording him his life, taking care of the grandkids, taking care of his rent and stuff, even though it's a grown man with a wife and two wives and two children. Oh, poor Apollo, he crying. So we're going to get into it. Okay, so we can get through his testimony. We're still on the direct line of question. We haven't even got to the cross-examination. We're going to finish out with the best of moments with the four kids and the boyfriend. But we're in no rush. We're in no rush. So let's go ahead and get started. Thank y'all for joining me, and hit the like. Lit Lane Jury Box Studio. Let's see.
It's around 2005.
You agree, Living?
I was working there because when my grandmother had her heart attack and had to have open heart surgery, I was working there.
And that would have been before you went into the military?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what, about 07, 06, somewhere in there?
Yeah, about in that time frame.
All right. So you were living at home with your parents still, correct?
At that time, yes.
At that time, so...
Now, let me say this. It's supposed to be where we left off, but if it starts sounding a little bit familiar to you guys, let me know. I personally listened to it already one time before watching it with y'all, so all of it seems a little bit familiar to me. So let me know.
So from 02 to 08, you lived with your parents from graduating high school to 08?
No, I did move out for a little while. I lived with some friends. And
like, how long would you say is a little while?
Not even a full year.
Okay.
Hey, Winter.
Were you the only one of the four siblings that stayed at home after high school? Now, Chris testified he moved to Maine.
We on the wrong brother.
We all kind of stayed at home.
We on the wrong brother. We on the wrong brother. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Demetri, I'm here. Don't think you off the hook tonight. I know, right? But I'm already off the hook and out of order. I'm on the wrong day of the trial. This is actually Chris. So that means I need to actually put day 5 on the beginning. But either way it go, hold on. My bad, you guys. Let me stop sharing it. Let me do all this. Boy, I'll be trying to be on point. If you're new to the channel, Trial Watch with Demetria, thank you and welcome. I see that we are growing over here. More subscribers are coming each day. New people are dropping down each day in the chat. And we welcome you guys. You'll find that I don't know. While I pull up the right live, why don't the Lit Lane jury box give me some descriptives for the Lit Lane, for our community over here? How would you describe our Trial Watch community? Put it in the chat while I look for this, and that way I can know how to describe us. Let's see, day 3. Watch the total. Okay, it's this day here. This the neighbor. Where's day 3? Somebody put intelligent. Hey, Jill. Opinionated. Boisterous. Oh, that's a great way to describe us, right? Boisterous. Sometimes we can be quite boisterous. And I think we're not formal. I think we're what's the better word besides we're informal. It's an informal trial watch. Hold on, y'all. What's the day for? Let's see. I had pulled up had it queued up and everything, but those brothers look just alike. Actually. Oh, here he go. Okay. Okay, I'm almost there. Okay. We're gonna start right here. Oh, I know where we left off. We left off right before it was just getting to July 4th. So maybe it was day 3 then, because oh my gosh. I hope somebody put the word not prepared. I hope nobody put that. Because I was prepared actually, but just wrongly prepared. Okay, let me see. Let me say day. This is day 3. Oh my gosh. So it's got to be day 2 because we hadn't even got to the cross examination. I remember saying, okay, let's just stop it here because we got a while to go before even the cross examination. Okay. Day 2. Oh shoot, here you go. It's right where I left it off at too. And it's right in the right spot. Okay, let me share this to you guys. Boom. Stream your with you guys. Boom. All right, so let's see the script. Opinionated. The little lady we are opinionated group. We are an intelligent group. I said the word boisterous. Hey, Pastor Fran, good to see you. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Little Lady Jury Box. Hey, Tracy. Guilty? Yes, unbothered for real. Hey, Betty Boo, welcome back to the Little Lady Jury Box. Yes, we started watching this, and at nighttime we do the best of trial, where we just get the best testimonies. It's not word for word for word for word. Everybody, not all that, but we looking for the juice and the tea. This is the burn pile trial, where Melody Farris. It was a big trial that was going on a few months ago. The defendant is Melody Farris, who's accused of unaliving her husband, prominent attorney. They had been married for 38 years at the time of the unaliving. And the kids pretty much blame her and say she did it. One of the sons found his body on the burn pile, burnt up, on July 4th. Hey, VA Sag. And the reason why we actually watched the sentencing hearing for this, we didn't do the whole trial watch. And this is the one for the sentencing hearing. She got found guilty. And during her sentencing, she went totally scorched earth. She turned around in the court and said, "I not only did I not kill him, I know who did." Then she turned around to her son and said, "Scott, you know you killed your father," or "Chris, you know you killed your father." And from that moment, I was like, okay, we got to watch this trial. Yeah, so we're just watching the best of, and this is the first of the of the adult children to testify. They had 4 kids, a lot of money, and infidelities on both sides. It's a lot of drama, family drama. Okay, so let me put it up here. Boom. Now this is exactly where we left off. Wait a minute now. Oh my God. Y'all gonna kill me. Hold on. I don't know what's going on. Let me see. Oh my God. Yeah.
What time was that?
I'd say if I had to put a number on it, between 4 and 4:30 p.m.
On the 3rd. What that would look like.
I was going to pay for everything there. The dinners, whatever, things you pay for at the beach. And he was going to pay for the condo.
Did you eventually pick out a condo?
We did.
And who booked that condo?
My father.
Did he tell you when he booked it?
Yes.
Do you remember when he booked it?
I don't remember, but I remember he texted me. He said it's booked.
Was it prior to, well, it's obviously prior to the vacation itself. How was it prior to July, let's say 1st?
Yes.
So it was the end of June.
Yeah.
Did you discuss it at his birthday?
He told me I had stopped and bought a raft to take to the beach because I was actually buying his birthday gift at Academy. And I called him. I said, hey, I got a raft to take to the beach. And he's like, yeah. He's like, don't talk about that while you're here
Okay. While you're where?
at the house.
Okay. Was your mom going to the beach?
No,
How do you know that?
because my father told me he was trying to get her to go to the beach and she refused.
Okay. Did you talk to her about the beach?
I did.
And what was her reaction to you?
She told me she had too much going on and she couldn't go.
So who would have, if the trip came up, who would have gone?
It would have been me, my wife, Jenna, both of my daughters, Ellen, Addie, and my father.
Let's talk about Jenna for a second. When did you and Jenna get married?
July of 2015.
And did your dad help you out with your engagement or wedding to Jenna? Financially?
Yes,
How so?
he helped me with the engagement ring, and he also paid for the rehearsal dinner at our wedding.
Okay. And you said it was in 2015?
The wedding.
The wedding was in 2015? Okay. So you had been married to Jenna for 3 years
Yes,
at this point. And when the girls came to visit you, would they stay with you and Jenna?
they would stay with me and Jenna, and then they would stay at the farm a lot.
The conversations about the beach with your mom, was that over the phone, in person? How did you guys discuss the beach?
Most of the conversations with my mother we spoke, but I don't remember exactly how if it was text messages or if it was a phone call. I don't remember.
But at that point, to your knowledge, she was not going.
Correct.
Now, after your father's birthday, I want to talk about that next week, okay? The first week in July of 2018. Were your girls scheduled to come down and stay with you?
Yes,
When did they come down?
they arrived at between 8 and 9 a.m. The morning of July the 3rd.
The morning of July 3rd, and that's Tuesday?
Yes.
So the Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Did you work on Monday, July 2nd?
I don't remember, but probably. I would think so, but I don't remember.
Okay. So the morning.
I mean, it was a holiday week, so probably I don't remember.
Okay. Let's talk about the morning of July 3rd, that Tuesday. What did that morning look like to you? What did you do?
Woke up, drove to the airport, Hartsfield-Jackson, picked my kids up. They always wanted to go to Waffle House. They don't have that in Maine. So we went to Waffle House.
Who was it that went?
Ella, Addie, and myself.
Jenna was not with you.
No.
Okay. So how long did you eat at Waffle House for?
30 minutes.
What did you do next?
We went back to my condo and
Where
hung
was
out at 55 Far Road in Buckhead.
Okay. Okay. And what did you do then?
Just hung out. I had a dog at the time. They were very fond of Oliver. That's my dog's name, or was my dog's name. We hung out, and they were itching to do what they had what they thought planned for their trip, which is.
And what were their plans?
Well, Addie had already arranged with Cameron, which is Chad Bruce's daughter. My sister Amanda at the time, well, really would eventually become, I guess when they got married, her stepdaughter. They had planned, because they, both had phones, they would text each other and, say, oh, I'm coming down to stay with me, visit my dad, and we're going to have a sleepover at the farm. So that was Addie's plans.
Okay.
Ella's plans were she had this friend, Emma, who was the daughter of, I think, this guy named Terry, who he lived on Birmingham Highway, and somehow my mother had become friends with him. And Emma had become friends with Ella, and Ella and Emma had talked, and Emma's mom actually trained horses at this facility up in Cumming. I believe it was Cumming. It was up near the farm, but it was, I know she lived in Cumming because I dropped her off there that afternoon. So they were itching to go. They had plans.
Okay. And none of them with you, it sounds like.
No. I mean,
they were how old?
Yeah, they were preteens at the time. They were 12 and 14 years old. Like they were very social.
They were busy.
They were busy.
So did you execute these plans for them?
Addie's plans did not come to fruition the night of the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
She had asked to do that, and I said, well, you got to ask your grandmother, and it just didn't work out. But I did take Ella to Emma's mom's house and dropped her off. She went to have a sleepover. They were actually going to sleep over at this horse training facility, and I think they had like a pool or a pond they swam in, and she was all excited about it. So we actually stopped at Target on the way up there so she could buy a new bathing suit.
Okay.
And I dropped her off at Emma's mom's house. I think her name was Beth, maybe. But yeah, I dropped her off there.
What time was that?
I'd say if I had to put a number on it, between 4 and 4:30 p.m.
On the 3rd.
Correct.
Okay. After you dropped Ella off at Emma's on the 3rd, where did you go next?
Well, I called my father and I said, hey, do you want to meet us for dinner? Because I hadn't talked to him that day. And he said, I'm working. I said, oh, cool. I was like, well, let's, meet up. And he's like, no. I'm at the farm. I'm just working. I said, oh, okay. Well, I was like, I just dropped Ella off. We're going to come by and come see you. He had recently seen Ella because she was down in May, but he hadn't seen Addison since Christmas time. So, we were up there. Might as well stop by.
So you ended up stopping by the farm?
I did.
And about what time did you get there?
About 5 o'clock.
How long did you stay?
Between 20 to 30 minutes.
What did you do when you were there?
We pulled in. My father was in the driveway, sitting on the RTV. I parked my truck, went up to him, and Addie went to get, I just never forget it. This is the last time I saw my father. He said, oh, just let me give you a kiss because I'm too sweaty right now for you to hug me. And then at some point my mother walked out and we went up to the barn because I think they had some baby ducks that had been born recently or something like that. And
maybe a baby goat.
I think there might have been a baby goat. I just remember the baby ducks as being the draw that day, but I think there was a baby goat too, maybe.
Okay.
There's always babies of some sort. There were a lot of animals.
Baby animals. So you and Addie walked the property, went to the barn. Who was with you? Was your dad and mom with you?
Yes. We actually went from the main house up to the barn, and then we walked down to the pond to see the baby ducks, and my mother walked down there with us.
Who all went to the barn? All
To the
four of you?
barn?
Yeah. when
All
you
four
walked.
of us went to the barn.
How did you get to the barn?
I drove my truck up there.
Okay. How did your dad get to the barn?
He rode the RTV.
How did your mom get to the barn?
I think she walked, but I don't remember.
And was Addison with you or with your dad or with your mom?
Addison was with me, I think. She might have walked with my mom. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
So your dad was on the RTV.
Yep,
Was he on the RTV often when you were at the farm?
all the time.
Do you know where he would keep the RTV?
Different places. Sometimes it would be at the barn. Sometimes it would be parked in the driveway. Sometimes it would be parked in the garage at the house.
But he had it often.
Very much so.
Do you remember if there was anything on the RTV this day?
Yeah. I remember seeing like dead boxwoods, I think what they were, that he had pulled up and put them in the back because we had a conversation about it.
What was he planning to do with those boxwoods?
He told me he was getting ready to burn the burn pile the following day on July 4th.
He told you he would burn it on.
He told me he was going to burn it on July 4th.
Did you see the burn pile?
I saw the burn pile the weekend before at the birthday party when I was driving the RTV through the woods.
How large was it?
It was big. I remember
What does big mean?
Big means probably as tall as I am, and I'm 6'4". I remember Jenna saying like, wow, like this thing is huge. And that's what I remember.
Did your dad burn often? Do you know?
I don't know how often. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time out there. The only time I saw him burn anything was after it was like a Christmas Eve, and we had the family there, and he had taken a bunch of pallets and some wood and things, and we actually had like a bonfire like on Christmas Eve. It was actually a very, very nice evening. But that's all I know he would burn things, but as far as me knowing or seeing him do it, that was the only time.
Would he burn at your old house in Alpharetta? Did you have the property? And
Yeah, he would.
you laughed a little bit there. So is there?
Well, so I laugh because my grandfather, my father's dad, every year on Christmas, there'd be all this wrapping paper, okay? And every year, my grandfather would take all that wrapping paper out there and burn it in his little leaf burning pile. And I always thought it was funny. And so I don't know. I always think about that. And like my father almost would talk about, oh yeah, I'm going to burn this burn pile. And he was actually, I think, burning leaves at that house behind the fence. And so you're talking about a suburb house. I mean, this is like living in a neighborhood, not a farm. And he had actually started burning some leaves back behind the fence. And I guess didn't put it out all the way. And I woke up, I was staying with him that night. I might have been living there at the time. I don't really remember. And I wake up and there's the back of the woods is on fire behind their house.
And what happened?
The fire department came. And the fire department came.
What were your parents' reaction to that?
Oh, I don't remember. I remember, I think I was out there, and I think the firefighter asked me, he was like, how'd this happen? I was like, well, and my dad said, shut up. You know, like, so I don't remember what their reactions were at that time.
So the burn pile on the 3rd was large,
Very.
or at least when you saw it the weekend before.
Yes.
Okay. You didn't see it on the 3rd?
No.
Okay. It wasn't burning when you were out there, though.
No, not at all.
He was still building it.
Yes.
So after you saw all the baby animals, what did you do next?
We walked back to my truck. I remember telling my father, you know, there's going to be fireworks on the 4th of July. Maybe we can get together and go see fireworks. And then I got my
the next day,
which would have been the 4th was the next day. And then I got in the car in my truck with Addison, and we went back because she wanted to go get dinner.
did you drive back to Buckhead at that
I
point?
did.
What did you do after that?
We went and got poke bowls, which is like sushi in a bowl. Addie loves poke bowls. We went and got that, and then we went to this new ice cream place, and Jenna went with us to that.
To both places?
I know she went to the poke place. I don't remember if she went to the ice cream place. I think she did. I don't remember.
So after you got poke and ice cream, what did you do?
We went home,
And did what?
hung out. You know, I think we went to the pool. We had a pool at our condo, and just
You
hung out at
Addison,
home.
Jenna?
Mhm.
At any point the night of the 3rd, did you go back to the farm?
No.
What did you do the next morning on the 4th?
Addie and I got up very early and went up. I lived a block off of Peachtree Street. So we went up and we watched the Peachtree Road Race and come through Buckhead.
Who's we?
Addison and I. Jenna did. Jenna came up eventually, but I don't think Jenna was trying to get up that early on 4th of July. So Addison and I went up there. We took our chairs and set up, and it was nice.
How long were you out there watching the Peachtree Road Race?
If I had to put a number on it, maybe an hour.
So what time would that put you at?
That's hard to say. Around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning.
So you were done watching it at 8 or 9, or you were done at 7 or 8?
I think we went up there. I mean, we didn't watch the first people come through. I don't remember what time, but I know it was early.
Early morning.
Early morning,
And you were out there for about an hour.
Yeah.
What'd you do after that?
We went to Cracker Barrel in Norcross
Why Norcross?
because I had my own painting company and I would.
My bad, y'all. I was off the stage. No wonder y'all couldn't hear me. I was letting unbothered know about this case. This is the state of Georgia versus Melody Farris. The state of Georgia alleges that Melody, the matriarch of this family, of 4 adult kids. They accused her of unaliving the husband, Gary. They had been married 38 years. He was a very prominent, affluent attorney there in Georgia. They part of Georgia. They lived on a farm like ranch type situation. And they're saying that she shot the husband, then took his body and burnt the body on the wood pile there on their property. The reason why we didn't watch this trial when it was going on, but we did watch the sentencing because the sentencing was something like I've never seen, like straight off of TV. During her sentencing phase, because she was found guilty, spoiler alert, during her sentencing phase, she went totally scorched earth, right? And she let them kids, she let everybody, she gave them a piece of her mind, and she literally accused in open court one of her sons of actually being the culprit, of being the one who actually unalived the dad. So that, kind of prompted us to come and watch the best of. This trial was kind of very long and lingering. However, we're just watching like the best of moments. Like we watched the opening statements, and we're gonna watch the kids' testimonies, and then her lovers, because there was infidelities on both sides. And that's about, we're not watching it from gavel to verdict. We're just watching the best testimonies. That's why Lane right now keeps saying, oh, he needs to hurry up. But let's continue.
Would have my
Welcome back,
guys that I don't have
Tracy.
to pay.
Hey, Miss Step
And I had this one
219.
guy, and he's like, "Oh man, I really need my check." So I was like, "Okay,
This
fine."
guy just
He
goes
lives in
on and on.
Norcross, so I went to Norcross to give him his check, and Addie and I, there's a Cracker Barrel there, and so we went to Cracker Barrel for breakfast.
And after Cracker Barrel, what were your plans for the day?
We were having a pool party. Our apartment complex, condo complex, whatever you want to call it. We always had a pool party every year for the 4th of July.
So did you go to it?
We did, yeah.
Who's we?
Me, Addison, and Jenna.
Okay, where was Ella during all this time?
She was still with Emma.
Incoming,
Yes, at the horse park farm,
Sure. Were you checking in on her?
Very much so, yes.
And so throughout that day on the 4th at the pool, what was your intention for that evening with Addison?
I thought we were just going to hang out and stay at the pool and just hang out at home. Ella had called me and asked if she could stay over again. I said yes. And that was my intention of the day. But that changed.
Okay, how?
My mother called me and said, "Hey, I'm on my way back from Lake Lanier Islands with Cameron. And does Addie want to come spend the night?" So I walked over to Addie, was swimming in the pool. I said, "Hey, do you want to go have this sleepover?" Hoping she would say no.
Why?
Because I didn't want to go. I didn't want to drive up there. But she said yes. So we went.
What time did your mom call you?
Oh, I don't remember exactly what time, but I would have to say it was later in the day. Maybe I don't want to misspeak. I don't know exactly what time.
Was it evening time, after lunchtime?
Late afternoon.
Late afternoon?
Mm-hmm.
So you drove up there.
Uh-huh.
Did you make any stops?
I did.
Where'd you stop?
I stopped at Wendy's to get Addison dinner.
And then went to the farm.
I did.
What did you do when you got to the farm?
We pulled up, and my mom and Cameron had already arrived, and we went inside the house. That was pretty much it.
Did you stay for very long?
No,
About how long did you stay?
maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Did you see your dad?
No,
Did you ask your mom where he was?
I don't remember.
When you would stop by the farm in the past, would your dad sometimes not be there?
Of course, yes.
Was that normal?
Yeah, it was normal. I mean, I was in a hurry to get back, you know, I had no reason. I mean, all my friends are at the pool. Addie was where she wanted to be. So I was ready to go back and enjoy my evening.
Did you and your mom speak to one another?
Yes.
Anything out of the ordinary?
No, the only thing out of the ordinary was on the way up there, you know, because I had asked for her to meet me so I didn't have to drive all the way to the farm.
You had asked who to meet you?
My mother,
Okay.
to meet me somewhere because she was coming back from Lake Lanier.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, why don't, instead of me driving all the way to the farm and you're coming that way anyway, why don't we meet? She said, no, just meet me there. I was like, okay. And then I actually said, well, I'm going to stop and get Addison dinner. And she's like, oh, no, we'll just make something here. And I was like, okay. But I stopped anyway because Addison it was before we had eaten. We were cooking at the pool, but we left before the food was done. So when she was hungry, she would let you know.
She was hungry. Okay, so what did you do when you left the farm?
I went to the gas station and then I stopped by Kroger in Buckhead, Sandy Springs, and I bought fireworks because we always shot off fireworks on the 4th of July at our apartment complex.
And where did you go after that?
I went home to the pool.
Did you talk to Addison again that evening?
On the way back from the farm, Addison called me and she's like, we can't find Big Daddy. And I was like, well, he's got to be there somewhere. Go look for him. And I called him and his phone went straight to voicemail. And I didn't really think anything of it because his phone went to voicemail a lot. And I just said, well, he's there somewhere, you know, go find him, you know. And we had a phone call, and I think, of course, I texted her that night or called her that night to check on, make sure she was okay, that kind of thing. But she was, from what I remember, was fine. Nothing alarming from her at the time.
Did you ever communicate with your mom that evening?
No.
Is that typical?
Yes, very typical.
Even when your kids are over there?
Mm-hmm.
You mainly communicate with your kids.
Directly, yes.
So the night of the 4th, did you stay in Buckhead?
Yes.
Did you ever go back to the farm the night of the 4th?
No, not at all.
When was the next time you went to the farm?
July 5th, I think I left my.
So why didn't, after his sister told him the dad was missing, right? Why didn't he even call his mom that night or call back to the farm that night? Because the sister wasn't at the farm. So he didn't even bother to call back and check with his mom. Hey, has dad came back home? Have you heard anything? Do you need me to come? Nothing. Very self-centered.
Apartment around 11:30 in the morning to go pick up Addison.
Did you talk to Addison before you left?
I don't remember.
Did you try to call your dad that morning?
Yes.
And what happened?
I went straight to voicemail.
Did you talk to your mom?
No.
You just decided to go up there.
I talked to my sister,
Which sister?
Amanda.
Okay. And what was that conversation?
She said Daddy's missing.
That was before you left?
I don't remember. I think it was actually after I left. I mean, I don't remember there being a phone call or a text message or anything like that to say, okay, come get, that I'm coming to get you now or anything like that. I knew where she was. I was going to go get her. And I can't remember if the conversation with Amanda was at my apartment or was on the way. I remember us talking a lot on the way.
Who's
But
us talking?
Amanda.
And you talking a lot?
Yes.
Okay. About what?
Trying to figure out where my dad was. I told her, I say, you know, you need to call the local hospitals and you need to see if his wallet and his car keys are there.
At this point, knowing that his phone was going to voicemail and Addison couldn't find him the night before, what was your thought process when Amanda said he's missing?
I was pretty panicked. You know, this was 2 months after this whole scenario of him being in the hospital. 2 months, 3 months, you know, April, May, June, so 3 months. So I had not been able to talk to my father to get in touch with him the night before when I called him to see where he was, so Addison and them could find him and, you know, hang out with him. And then the next day, my sister calls me and says, "Daddy's missing." So yeah, I was excited in the point of panic. You know, I was very, my blood pressure was probably pretty high.
So even though his phone would go to voicemail pretty often, this was not normal.
No,
going
not for that long. Yeah.
How long did you know that nobody had gotten in touch with him?
Well, I know that I had tried to call him the night before, you know, on the way back from the farm to Buckhead. So for me, I mean, we're talking, you know, over 12, you know, I mean, about that time, we're talking, you know, 15 hours later, you know, so.
And you didn't see him on the 4th at all?
No.
Okay. Did the family have any group messages happening? Like text message groups?
I don't remember there being a group message.
So you and Amanda were talking on the phone about, and you had said to her to call the hospitals.
Call hospitals. I also told her, because she said his car was there. I was like, well, he never went anywhere without his car. So I was like, well, find his car keys and find his wallet, you know. And
why his wallet?
Because his wallet, my dad never left anywhere to go anywhere without his wallet. You know, he would not leave the house without his wallet. My dad only left the house to go to the store or go eat. You know, that was basically it.
What about to the office?
Oh, of course, in the office. Sorry, I'm talking about things other than work.
Okay. Who did you talk to? Anybody else?
I talked to my sister Emily on the way there and told her what was going on.
And what was her reaction?
She was kind of had the same reaction as me, panicked.
Had she heard from him to your knowledge?
No.
So you arrive at the farm,
Mm-hmm.
and what's the first thing that you do when you get there?
When I arrived at the farm, Amanda, Cameron, my mother, and Addison are actually sitting on the steps out front. I just remember going in thinking, I need to figure out what's going on. And I went out and I asked my mother, I said, "Hey, have you seen his wallet?" She said no. I knew where he kept his wallet. Kept his wallet either in the Mercedes or downstairs in the basement or in the master bathroom. So I went to look.
He wasn't even in none of those
places.
places.
Or not. And that wasn't going to be an indication to me if he had left or not. I went to the Mercedes. I looked in the glove compartment. I looked in the center console. I looked in the back seat. I looked everywhere in that car. I did not find his wallet.
Did you find his car keys or cell phone or anything like that?
No, I didn't find anything. I left the garage and I went down to the basement to keep searching. And then I came upstairs and eventually took my search out of the house and, you know, up to the barn.
Did you at any point check for his CPAP machine, or did that cross your mind?
No, that never crossed my mind.
So you were in the basement. Did you see anything out of the ordinary in the
No.
basement? So when you took your search outside, what was the first thing that you did? And was anybody with you?
Yeah, actually, because the kids they loved to ride that RTV. And that RTV was up at the house. So I jumped on it and they were like, can we ride with you? And I'm like, oh, like, I didn't know what was really going on here, but I let them. They're very persistent. And they jumped on the RTV with me, and I drove up to the barn to see if I could find him or a sign of him.
When you got on the RTV, you said it was at the house. What part of the house was it parked on?
He was in the driveway, I think. I don't remember exactly.
So the girls jumped on with you?
Yep.
And where'd you go?
To the barn.
Okay. Anything at the barn stand out to you?
No. Everything. I mean, I looked. I mean, there's even like a, because I thought at this point it was a, you know, maybe he was having a spell, or maybe he was, God forbid, something that, you know, medical issue had happened, and I went up to the barn. I even climbed. There's like a ladder thing. There's like a loft up there. Not my brother's apartment, but a loft where you store things in. I even went up there, like looking around, just trying anywhere.
Welcome back, Kathy. Good to see you, girl.
There, so we got in the RTV and started back towards the house.
At any point, did Scott come down and start searching?
Yes.
When was that?
I don't remember exactly.
Was it after you arrived or before you arrived?
I think it was right after I arrived, but I can't be sure.
Okay. You didn't see him when you pulled up?
When I first pulled up to the house that morning, no, or not around noon. My first initial time when I got to the house, no, I did not see my brother. When I just saw the four of them.
So you're on the RTV with Cameron and Addison,
Correct.
and you're driving back from the barn down to back to the house.
Yep.
Okay. Where did you look next?
So I'm coming from the barn, and I look out across, and I see my brother and my mother walking between the barn and kind of the pond, but kind of back towards the wood, the tree line. And that's when it clicked in my head about that, because he told me he was going to burn that burn pile on July the 4th. And it clicked in my head, I need to go back there, because he told me he was going to be burning that burn pile on July the 4th. So I whipped around. I saw them walking back there. So I'm like, I'm going to follow them back there. I went back around the backside of the house and went.
Okay, I'm gonna chill out on this pausing. However, this, we was just talking in the chat about the lying and stuff, right? This is the perfect display of how he just lies, right? To hear him tell it, he came up with the bright idea. He put two and two together. He, you know, to figure out, hey, my dad he just said he gonna burn it, so let me look back there. And then in the same breath, in the same breath, then he says he saw everybody else going that way, so he went to follow. Do y'all see that? He's such a habitual liar that he started off one way and then caught himself having to say, oh, well, everybody else was walking that way. And he also tried to build himself up to be smarter than what he is. And he just,
Down.
The old saying is, if you lie, you'll steal. If you steal, you'll kill. That saying, if you lie, you'll steal. If you steal, you kill.
And they were already at the burn pile.
Who's they?
Scott and my mother.
Okay.
And I drove and parked about, I don't know, 10 to 20 yards away between the house and the burn pile. And I told them to stay back. And
Who's that?
Addie and Cameron. At that time, it was just more of, I was just walking down there to see what was going on. And I walked down there, and then my brother had a stick in his hand. And I walked up there and I looked at the burn pile, just, you know, at the time what was about to happen, I mean, I had no inkling that this was even possible. And my brother, this is really hard for me to talk about. My brother looked up at me and he said, "You need to get those kids the F out of here. I'm calling 911 right now." And I did. I took the kids out to the house and I put them in the room, in their bedroom. They had slept in the night before. And I said, "Y'all need to go up here." I mean, I didn't say anything to them. You know, my daughter had just lost her uncle like 2 months before that. And I knew kind of what, I mean, I'm not stupid, you know, like when he's looking at something calling, you know, like, so my instinct was get my children, get my child back up and away from whatever's going on right here. And that's what I did. I put them in the bedroom. I said, "I'll be back." And I went downstairs. After I went downstairs, it's like I was just, the adrenaline was going like crazy. My brother said something to me like, "I think there's human remains on the burn pile." And so I got an RTV. I had to go back down there. I went back down to the burn pile and I took a close look at the burn pile. And I looked and I was like, wow. And then I saw what looked to me to be like a hand, like bones of a hand, like that. And that's when I just, you know, I think I went in shock. And I went back up to the house and waited for the authorities to arrive. The paramedics, I guess, is who arrived first. But I sat on the back of my truck, really couldn't even talk.
Did you touch anything in the burn pile?
No,
When Scott had a stick and moved something, did you see what it was that he saw or was looking
I
at?
thought it was a rock. I saw but he told me after I put the girls back up in the room and I came back downstairs and he told me I think it was human remains. And, you know, of course, my brother and I had conversations after, like, while this situation is unfolding. And he told me, yeah, I think that's.
Was that before or after he called 911?
After.
Did you see him call 911?
I did not.
He
said he was going to call 911. He said to get the kids out of here, I'm going to call 911. I didn't stick around long enough to hear him.
Was your mom nearby when you?
She was standing right there.
Did she say anything?
No,
Was Amanda near the burn pile at that time?
I don't remember. I don't think so. The only thing I remember about Amanda is her walking up when I was sitting on the back of my truck waiting for whoever was responding to this 911 call to come. And my sister walked out and we spoke then. My sister was out there when the I think it was the paramedics showed up. Yeah.
What did you guys speak about?
Well, the paramedics walked by and they were actually holding a gurney. And I'm thinking, like, it was just confusing what was happening. And I was sitting there and it wasn't long after that the paramedics actually walked back around and said to me, "I'm sorry for your loss." And that's when it really kicked in. And that's when Amanda and I just basically started this conversation about, oh my God. I mean, it doesn't take, I mean, it's common sense. Your father's missing. My brother's saying he thinks there's human remains. He's, you know, paramedics are showing up. So, I mean, and then they're saying, I'm sorry for your loss. And that's when it really just kind of, I was just overwhelmed. Like, it was awful. I don't really remember what my sister and I talked about.
That's a cool family. Ain't none of them
I remember
crying.
her kind
Look at
of
them.
saying things like,
That one girl,
oh, we put him through so much.
like the only
and
one may had a
we
tear in
weren't
her
the best
eye.
kids and this, that, and the other. And I remember thinking, like, what are you talking about? It was very strange to me at the time. But people, you know, I guess people say things when they're put in that situation. I didn't really think anything of it, you know. I just thought that was kind of weird. But that's, and things just, everything, really, a lot of things after that are a blur to me. You know, I've done a lot of PTSD therapy because of this, that day. And what I've discussed in a lot of that therapy is they think that I pretty much went into shock.
I think we're gonna take-
Jill. Okay, I have to pause it right here because I am an expert body analysis, right? Language analysis. And to say he was just so sad, to say he just had a tough time recollecting, remembering all this, right? As soon as it's time to take questions from the defense, look at how he's setting up his body. He's already going on the defense. He's already preparing himself and getting himself suited and booted, like as though somebody finna attack him. He's already posturing to be on the defense. Just wanted to share that with y'all. Cross-examination.
Y'all don't go anywhere yet. When y'all go, talking to them. You can step down.
Not cloud chaser. Y'all behave. Okay, let me girl, why he still trying to act like he wiping off tears off his face as he going out the door? Okay, and we back.
Can assess on Monday, Tuesday what's going on for the
Jill
afternoon.
said them tears wouldn't have
I would
put
prefer
out
to
the
keep
fire.
going.
And then unbothered talk about he cloud chasing.
Her cousin says there were 5 tornadoes.
Arrived with the backboard. Your dad, did Melody mention anything about the burn pile or about him burning? Did you ever have a conversation asking her if he did burn the pile on the 4th?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you went outside and sat on your truck. You had testified earlier. And EMS arrived with the backboard. Did you at any point leave the property?
I left the property hours later after the authorities allowed me to leave.
Why did you leave?
To go check on my children. After the whole EMS saying what they said, I called my wife who was at work, and I said, you need to get here. You need to come up here. You need to come get Addison. And then I was there for a while. She did come get both the girls. Sometime during this whole thing, I think I had texted Emma's mom or called Emma's mom, I don't remember which, and said, I need to get Ella.
That'd be Beth Braswell.
Yes,
Okay. And that's where Ella was.
yes,
So Jenna came up to the farm,
correct.
got Addison,
Uh-huh.
and eventually got Ella.
Ella came to the farm, and I think it's just so foggy at that point. I think she brought Ella to the farm, but I don't think she met Beth anywhere to get Ella. I think Ella was brought to the farm because Jenna was in downtown Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So from my phone call, it would have had to take her, even if driving as fast as she could, at least at a minimum of half an hour to get there.
Okay, this is
So
not the cross-examination
sometime in
yet.
that time, I just can't remember if I called Beth and said, bring Ella back. I honestly, I just don't remember.
Somehow Ella and Addison went home with Jenna.
Yes,
Okay. Did Cameron go with them
yes,
to Buckhead?
yes, to my apartment in Buckhead.
So once Jenna left with the kids and you were there with your family, did anyone else show up that wasn't law enforcement? Did Emily show up? Were there friends and family?
Chad Bruce showed up. Emily showed up later that day. I called Emily to tell her what had happened.
When did you call Emily to tell her what happened?
In that time period of after EMS told me what they told me about, sorry for your loss. And I began, letting people know who needed to know what was going on.
So at that point, did Emily get in the car and drive down?
Yes.
So while law enforcement was at your house, everybody arrived, lights, all of that, did you and Scott talk?
I don't remember.
Did he mention anything about a gun?
Yeah.
When was that?
Right about that time after EMS was the first to arrive. So my brother was out talking about it, and I heard him say something about he saw a gun in the basement, something about, sometime before all this happened, and about he was having to get a remote control or something like that. And
It wasn't to you, it was just someone else.
I don't think Scott and I sat down and had a conversation one-on-one.
Okay.
I think I was just hearing what he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you caught that information. Did you think
yeah.
that was weird?
Yeah.
Why did you think that was weird?
Because I just thought it was weird. Like, there's a gun in the basement, and I don't know. I just thought it just didn't make a lot of, nothing made sense to me at the time, but I just remember that, thinking that, well, that's strange. I don't really remember what made me think that.
At this point, what did you think happened to your father?
Because y'all was immediately trying to throw your mom under the bus. That was strange.
I was going through scenarios in my head, how I didn't know what had happened. I just knew what I had just seen, what was happening, what was going on. And I'm trying to figure out, running through scenarios in my head, like how in the world, like I thought, like, could he have had a medical thing? You know, I thought maybe he fell in the fire. Maybe, I mean, that's where my head was at that point.
Did you talk to law enforcement on scene?
I did.
Do you remember who it was that you spoke with?
Well, specifically law enforcement, the only time really anybody asked me about like what was going on at the time was when I sat down with, and I apologize, it could be Lieutenant, I don't know police
That's
ranks,
okay.
and
Titles.
Kaikanal or something like that. He's the one who interviewed me first
Okay, where was that?
in his police vehicle
On scene?
on scene.
At the farm?
Correct.
How long did you talk with him? Do you remember?
Oh, honestly, it could have been 15 minutes. It could have been an hour. I don't remember.
At that point, did you think anyone else had been involved in your father's death?
I don't remember specifically. I remember our conversation kind of had me thinking of maybe that was the case, because he said, well, Chris, you know, when things like this happen, you know, we assume foul play until we know it's not. Okay. So when he said that to me, he then asked me, did your parents, not quoting him, paraphrasing, something about how was your parents' marriage?
Mm-hmm.
How was their relationship? And I told him.
You told him the truth.
Told him the truth.
At that point in time, how much, if anything, did you know about Rusty Barton?
I knew a lot about Rusty Barton at the time.
What was it that you knew about him?
Well, I knew he had come to my sister's wedding
When
and
was
was
that?
dancing. It was in July of 2016. And at the reception, he was dancing with my mother. And then the next morning, my father, my brother, myself, Jenna, and my father went to Jonathan's Sports Grill in Franklin, Tennessee, Cool Springs, and we had brunch, breakfast, whatever you want to call it. And my dad was very upset about what he had seen at that reception, about my mom dancing with Rusty. And he told me, he's like, this is the last time she's going to embarrass me like that.
Did you learn if your mom had multiple cell phones?
Yes.
How did you learn about that?
I got to pause this because y'all saying in the chat, we all kind of pretty much saying, okay, about his memory and how bad it is and how he goes on and on and on. But do y'all notice something? Whenever he don't remember, he act like he dumb blonde and don't remember so much. But anytime it comes down to speaking on his mother, it don't matter if it was when he was 2 years old. He has crystal clear memory about all of his mother's wrongdoings. You ask him something about his mama, he can tell you time, place, what happened, what she was wearing, everything. Did y'all notice that? Or is it just me because I don't like him?
My kids told me.
Did you ever see her with multiple cell phones?
No.
So when you were around your mom, you saw that her to just have one phone.
Mm-hmm.
And your daughters mentioned she had a second phone. Is that?
Yeah, and my dad.
And your dad.
Yeah.
In what context did your dad inform you of the cell phone?
I don't remember. I just remember him saying something about it. I don't remember the context of it.
In your family, when conflicts would arise, like the Ted Wiley situation, would you all talk about it together or talk things out? How did issues like that settle in your family?
They were never settled. We didn't talk about those kind of things. Just kind of swept it under the rug. I mean, when my dad told me about that she was coming home from, I mean, I know where I was. I know where I was parked having the conversation with him. I'll never forget it. He told me she's coming home and you need to accept her back. And I don't know. I mean,
Did your dad love your mom?
oh, very much so.
You could see that.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that why he stayed with her?
Yes.
So going back to the 5th, you talked to detective at the time, Kuykendall, in his patrol car.
Yep.
After that, did you speak with law enforcement again?
No, I left after that. I wanted to go check on my children. I just wanted to get to my kids.
And did you check with someone
Yeah.
about leaving?
Oh, they had my car blocked in they moved the police car so I could leave.
What did you do when you left?
I went home.
And what did you do when you got home?
I went home and I hugged my kids.
Boo.
How long were you in Buckhead at home with your kids?
Not very long.
I'm sorry, he
I went
did
home and
lose his
checked on
daddy.
them,
God dang.
and I wasn't home very long because Emily was coming and I wanted to be there when Emily got there.
Were you there when Emily got there?
Emily got there before I got there. I pulled up and Emily was already there.
How many hours had passed? How long does it take Emily to drive from?
Approximately 3 to 4 hours where they were living at the time. 3 to 4 hours.
So that's about how much time had passed since you called her and then you coming back to the house.
I guess.
And Emily was there.
Yes.
Was she there with her husband?
Yes.
And did you speak with Emily?
Yes.
Where did you end up going that night since law enforcement stayed at the farm?
I went home. I left. I know it was dark. I think I left around about the same time Emily left. And I actually had gone to get gas and I went to run my debit card and it said, please see cashier. And I was like, what in the world? Well, something had happened with my account. That check that I had written to that painter, he had taken it and tried to cash it when I told him, you don't need to cash this until like Friday. Well, he went and cashed it anyway. And it drew my account. So I couldn't get gas. So I didn't know what to do. I called Emily, who was on her way to the hotel, and she actually lent me $20 so I could put gas in my car to get home. So I went to the Fairfield Inn on, it was on like, I think, no, that's not, I don't know if it was Fairfield Inn. It was a hotel, I think it was on Windward Parkway, I think. But I went to her hotel and she lent me $20. I went up to her room and saw Olivia and I went home.
Home to your condo in Buckhead.
Correct.
Okay. Later that night, did you get a phone call?
I did.
From who?
I think it was Detective Hayes. I think. I'm 90% positive it was Detective Hayes.
If I told you it was Detective Kuykendall, would that be surprising?
Wouldn't be surprising at all.
And what was that phone call? What was the purpose of that phone call?
They asked me where I was, kind of they asked me some questions about my locations on like July 3rd and July 4th. And I said, well, you know, I told them, and they asked me, is there anybody who would want to hurt your father? And I said, no, I don't think so. And then they asked me, well, let me back up. They told me that they found a bullet in my father's rib. And now this was being treated as a homicide. And there were some follow-up questions, you know, and they asked me, you know, would anybody ever benefit from your father being killed?
Oh, yeah.
And I was very frank. I said, well, yeah. I mean, my mom and whoever he's related to as far as financially. I mean, at this point in time, my brain had kind of already switched to thinking something had happened to him that wasn't falling in a fire.
Why did it switch?
Because of my mother's behavior when the police were there and just how she was acting.
What was that behavior? How was she acting?
Just not like somebody whose husband had just been found in a burn pile. When I left, when I was walking in my truck with the detective, my mother walked up and she asked him, she said, are y'all about done here? And he said, well, ma'am, you know, we're not, no. He said, well, my granddaughter needs to stay here tonight. And he said, well, ma'am, we're not going to be done. And I said, Mama, Emily's got a hotel room. She's going to be fine. This is before I left to go back to Buckhead. She's going to be fine. And she said, my daughter will stay here if I say so, or something like that. And I was like, I was shocked. And I was angry. I'm getting yelled at. My father's just been found dead. I'm getting yelled at by her. I remember I had my tailgate down. I remember slamming my tailgate. The guy moved the car and I left. I was beyond words, angry and frustrated, and just, I was all over the place mentally. And it just didn't seem, something was off. And so that.
So when you heard about the bullet in his rib, what was going on in your head?
I just remember crying. Like after I got off the phone with them, I just sat on the couch and me and Jenna just cried together.
Oh, is that what it is? He's so weak and a tad bit slow.
That's all I remember.
A tad bit.
Did your mom say anything about money to you that night?
She had asked me, she had told me that I needed to cancel the condo to the beach.
Why'd you get mad?
The night on the 5th?
Yes. Well, either the afternoon, it was still daylight. I don't remember exactly when it was, but she told me you need to cancel that condo to the beach.
And what did you think about that?
I thought, that's what you're worried about right now? And I told her, I was like, well, I didn't book the condo to the beach. You know, I ended up a few days later canceling it because I was able to find out. I think my father had emailed me the confirmation, and I was able to get the information. But at the time, that was the least, in my mind, it's like, why are we even talking about this? Which was, you know, another reason that I was starting to think something was wrong.
So you get a phone call from Detective Kuykendall the night he tells you about the bullet, and he asked you if your dad had any enemies, things of that nature. Do you know anybody that not really would benefit from it, but that would want him dead?
No,
Would Scott have benefited from his death?
I mean, could have. I mean, financially, I mean, all of his kids could have,
How so?
because we're his children.
What does that mean?
That means if some, you know, if somebody has money and they pass away, it, you know, can go to their wife, their kids, whoever.
Did you end up speaking with law enforcement in the days shortly after?
Not shortly after, no.
Okay. And why was that?
The following day, which would have been the 6th, my mother was still being questioned. My brother and my mother were still being questioned. I guess they had taken them to a local precinct, maybe. At this time, when we're in frantic chaos mode, and I guess my sister Amanda had contacted somebody at Borough Foreman, and then I was told that I need to be at this lawyer's office because my mother was, I guess, still talking with them. They were trying to get her out of being interviewed with the police. And we ended up at an attorney's office
On the 6th.
on the 6th.
So that Friday, July 6th.
Correct.
And why did that keep you from talking to law enforcement?
Well, because they told us not to. Manny Aurora was the name of the lawyer, the attorney. He told us, he said, if you say anything to the police, they're going to arrest you, your mother, and your brother if you say anything to them.
That he said that to you?
He said that to me. He said that to everyone.
Who was everyone? Who was there?
Everybody. All the siblings were there. Jenna was not there. My kids were not there. But like me, Scott, Amanda, Emily. I don't remember if Emily's husband was there, but it was definitely the four of us kids and my mother.
And so they instructed you not to talk to law enforcement.
Correct.
And what did you think of that?
I thought it was strange. I just wanted to find out what happened to my dad, you know, like I just wanted to know. And I remember getting kind of frustrated and probably voiced my opinion about it. It was an effort by Manny Aurora to convince us that if we said anything, he told us that the police were probably lying about him being shot. And he was just like, you need to shut up or you're going to go to prison for this. And I'm thinking, I had nothing to do with this. Why do I need to stop talking?
Mm-hmm.
But I did. I agreed. I said, okay. I said, fine. I won't.
Did now what about Addison? Since she was there the night of the 4th, was she interviewed?
By the police?
Right.
Or
By the police. We'll start with the police. Was she interviewed by the police?
no, I think Jenna had I can't remember it, Jenna. I don't think Jenna had gotten there before it had, it's just so cloudy to me, like when people got there. But no, they did not talk to Addison that
Was
day.
she eventually forensically interviewed?
Yes.
Okay.
They took her cell phone.
Okay, so they wearing me out, child. They wearing me out. They wearing me out. And we didn't heard everything about that day. Don't forget, this is the best of, okay? So yeah, we gonna get to the cross-examination and see how they gonna deal with Chris, his lies, his attitude, the way he treat the mama. Let's get to how the defense work him over. Let's see, I'm pulling it up now. Again, thank y'all for joining me. I am Demetra Lit all day. In case you just put up, this is Trial Watch with Demetra at night. We are just doing the best of. This is the Bird Power trial from Georgia, state of Georgia versus Melody Farris. They accused Melody, the wife, the matriarch of unaliving Gary Farris, the patriarch, the father, the affluent and respected lawyer. They accuse her of shooting him and burning his body on the wood pile. Apparently, it seems like most of the kids agree and accuse the mom of the crime as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get into day 4 because that was day 3 in real time of the trial, and we're gonna get to this cross examination because, baby, that was like pulling teeth. Hold on, let's see. Now, when we do full trial watches, we won't be skipping. Okay, hold on, let's see. And I was actually thanking you guys, and y'all could tell me in the chat. I thought about this like yesterday or something. I was like, when we start the real trial watch in February, maybe I should start like an hour behind. That way we can fast forward through the breaks and stuff. Hold on, let's see. I'm trying to share my screen. Let's see. Oh yeah, then we come on, hurry up and share. Y'all got to hear this. Hold on, let me rewind it. And y'all see, it's another day. She got different clothes on. Hold on. Dang, I thought her turn was over. Oh, y'all don't see it.
Be suicidal at any point in his life.
No.
Have suicidal ideations.
No.
You testified yesterday that you didn't like to go to the farm very much, and you attributed that to your parents' relationship was one of those factors. Did you ever share that information with your dad?
Yes.
How did you do that?
I wrote an email to him after he was in the hospital. I would say somewhere around May of 2018. And I just, because it's my dad, it was easier for me to communicate what I needed to say in an email because I couldn't really get through it in person.
And what is it that you communicated it to him?
I told him why I don't come up there as much.
Did he ever respond to you?
Yeah. Yes.
Did that response give you a glean into his state of mind at the time?
Yes.
How so?
He told me that he was very depressed, and he said that each day with my mother was pretty much the worst day of his life versus the day before. Like every day was the worst day of his life.
Chris, did you have anything to do with the murder of your father?
No,
Did you have anything to do with the concealment of your father and the grandfather of your children?
no.
That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Damn, she waited until the next day to ask those 5 questions. She just wanted to go first. Okay, come on, defense.
And Your Honor, it might be best to go ahead and turn the TV on. I'm going to kind of go back and forth between the Elmo
That's fine.
and the computer.
I don't think I've ever been for the defense
maybe start
in an murder trial. I think this is the first time. I think. Yeah, I think so.
Good morning, Chris. My name is John Luke Weaver, and I, along with Michael Ray, represent your mother. I want to go back and you spoke at length about a lot of things yesterday, but I want to go into more detail on some of them. And first, I want to go kind of back to your childhood and more of the family dynamics between the brothers and the sisters growing up. So you're the oldest. You were born in 1979 or 1980?
1980.
1980. And then who was born second?
My brother Scott,
Okay, what year was he born?
1983.
All right. And then what about Emily?
Emily was born, I believe, in, I think 1989, I believe so.
Okay. What about Amanda?
She was born basically a year and a half later. So it would have had to have been 1990. It could have been 1988, 1989, or 1989, 1990. I should probably know that.
So maybe your sister Amanda was born in 89 and Emily was born in 88 or 87?
Possibly.
Okay. All right. So you grew up in Hoover for the most part?
Correct.
And let's talk a little bit about the personalities of the kids growing up. So how would you say your personality was? How about, it's always, self-introspection is also often a very tough thing to do. So I'll ask you last. How about Amanda's growing up? Introvert, extrovert? Was she funny, not funny? Things like that.
Very outgoing and great personality, very funny.
All right. What about Emily?
Emily was, I think, a little bit more reserved, but very smart, very witty, and just very, very kind.
Okay. And how about Scott?
Scott was just a lot of fun to have as little brother. He just a sweet soul.
What about, so how did everybody do in school?
I did fairly well. I had my moments when I could have done better. My brother had a few issues. I'm not sure what that was. I wasn't, in the part of those discussions, but I think it was maybe some learning difficulties type thing, possibly. But I don't really know. My sisters, both, from what I understand, what I remembered, did very well in school.
All right. And what about behavioral growing up? Who was well behaved and maybe less well behaved?
We were all very well behaved.
Never got in trouble?
We got in trouble.
Anybody have, temper, any anger issues? Never.
No,
Not at all growing up.
I don't remember that. No.
You don't remember your brother having any anger issues and a short temper as a child?
No.
Okay. Do you remember? Scratch that. So you moved to Atlanta in 95?
Correct.
Alpharetta, roughly.
Yes, sir.
All right. And tell me what you remember about that move.
I remember it being a little hard on myself. It was in high school. but I was very excited. I loved Atlanta. I loved the Braves. I loved visiting Atlanta. So the move itself was very smooth. It was exciting. You know, we were moving to a new home, and my dad was moving up in his career, and I remember being a good time.
Do you remember anything about why your dad was moving to Atlanta, moving the family to Atlanta?
Because of his career.
Right, but why? Why was your dad? Do you know why your dad was chosen to open the Burn Foreman branch in Atlanta? Did you know any of that from your experience as a teenager?
I know my father was a very brilliant attorney and a very smart man and very good at his job.
Did he volunteer? Did you just, in your experience? You don't know?
I don't know.
And that's fine. Now, talking about your kind of, yesterday you mentioned that everything kind of prior to about 2008 was good with the family. I think that's the way you would have described it. So can you tell me, I've heard and maybe understood that holidays were kind of a big deal. Can you explain to me, how you guys would celebrate Christmas? You mentioned a fond memory yesterday of Christmas, but if you could explain to the jury.
But mostly at that time, working at the farm.
Right. Did bad discharge? Do you know?
I had to
I have
fast
no
forward
idea.
it.
No clue.
No clue.
Because y'all weren't super close back then, but you've become close. And you mentioned yesterday that you have undergone some treatment for PTSD. Have you and Scott discussed his PTSD?
No,
He never brought that up to you,
no,
even though he's brought that up in multiple interviews in this case?
never brought it up to me.
Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being so close that you guys talk every day, 1 being, I don't even talk to the guy. How close would you say your relationship with Scott is today?
So 10 being like we're talk every day.
Talk every day.
I'd say about a 7 point. I'd say 7.
7.
Boy, this ain't even a hard question.
7.
Okay. All right. And how about 2015?
2015. Oh, I'd say about 2015. I'd say about a 5.
About a 5.
4.
So,
It's hard for me to really, I'd have to think about that for a long time to really give a, what I think would, give the answer that would say how close we were. But I would say about a 5.
about a 5. So closer now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So back in 2000, just real quickly at the wedding, you said after the wedding of Emily, y'all went to brunch or breakfast the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when your dad allegedly said that that's the last time she's going to embarrass me. I believe those are the words you used.
Yes, sir.
And who was at that breakfast?
Jenna,
Who else?
Scott.
Scott. But your mom was there too.
No.
Everybody was at this breakfast together.
No,
And it was a breakfast, not a brunch.
no,
Everybody but Emily.
no. It was me, Scott, Jenna, and my father.
It was at the hotel, was it not? What hotel did you stay at?
I stayed at the Cool Springs. It's a loft hotel. My father stayed at the Embassy Suites.
Right.
My
That's
mother,
where everybody stayed.
no, my mother did not stay there. My mother did not stay with my father.
You have no proof of that.
I mean, do I have like a video evidence that shows?
Like you just have no proof. You're just saying this to the jury.
I have proof of what I know, but what do you mean by
Well,
proof?
we get them.
Any evidence to the contrary?
Like,
Any evidence? You got no evidence? Pictures, photos, anything?
no, I don't
Okay.
know how I would have that.
So let's go back to, you've been to rehab. You've had a number of issues. When would you say your substance abuse was at its highest?
When the
Child.
day I went to treatment,
When was that?
April, I think 10th of 2021.
2021. So how about back in the mid-teens, around 2015, 16, 17, 18? You drinking then?
Yeah.
Pretty regularly?
Yeah.
All right. The reason I bring that up, and I'm not sitting here just trying to, everybody's got problems in their life, and I understand that. But you made a point yesterday to talk about the fact, I believe, and the date is right around the 4th of July, 2017, that you got into an altercation with your mother, where your mother would not let your girls leave with you. And she swiped at you. You remember that distinctly. But you also remember you're going to a Braves game, were you not? And you'd been drinking that day.
No.
And you were drunk.
No, sir.
And your mother was not going to let you leave that house with your kids drunk.
That's not true.
Baby.
You got any proof of that? Anything? Prior to that, how about this? Had your mother ever took a swipe at you in your life?
Swipe at me, what does that mean?
Tried to hit you. You said yesterday she tried to hit you.
Has my mother ever hit me in my life?
Not when you're a kid and you got spanked. I'm talking about as an adult.
Has she ever hit me as an adult? No.
Okay, so that distinctly set out in your mind from that day.
It was shocking that she would do that to
And
her own son.
Because, of course, you're testifying to this jury that you weren't drunk.
I was not drunk.
Okay. And you ultimately told her, I believe the words you used was something to the effect of, I can't wait till you're in a pine box. Or tell me how you said that.
I think I said, the next time I see you, you'll be in a pine box because I'm not going to talk to you again for the rest of your life.
All right. And Ella and Addison were standing right there. You said that right in front of them to their grandma, who they loved more than anything.
I think the girls were inside the house.
All right. But the girls continued to go up there, even in that time y'all weren't talking, yes? Whenever? No?
Mm-mm. Not the time when we were not talking. They weren't here.
They went back to Maine.
Yeah.
All right. But in all reality, in that time period, after you and Kendall Lee separated, every single summer, those kids would come down here and immediately you would take them and dump them off at your grandmother's house. Or at your mother's house, their grandmother's house, grandma.
Get them.
I didn't really phrase it like that.
Well, then you phrase it the way you want to.
My kids love going to the farm. They wanted to go there, but it wasn't an immediate thing because grandma would take them shopping. They're teenage girls.
Okay.
That was a big influence in them immediately wanting to spend time with her. And she also wanted to immediately spend time with them.
Well, let's do this. So, I'm trying, everybody that I ever cross-examine just knows that I just bounce around, and everybody I talk to in my life, I'm trying to go as chronologically as possible. I'm going to go forward in time 1 year.
Okay.
On July the 4th, 2018, did you not testify yesterday that you just wanted to get Addison up there because you had a party going on? There was a party going on back at your condo in Buckhead. Mom, meet me on 400 somewhere. Is that not what happened?
Well, what happened was, as far as efficiency and time management and gas money and things like that, it made more sense. She's driving back from Lake Lanier. I'm coming up 400. Why not meet here instead of going all the way west? It didn't make any sense to me at the time.
Because you wanted to get back to your party. You said your friends were there. You were having a party at the pool.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather be hanging out with my friends than sitting in a car.
Than hanging out with your daughter on a holiday.
No, I didn't want my daughter to go. Like what
She
I said,
about to laugh. Look
I
at
did
the
not
mama.
want her to go.
Oh, I'm hollering.
But
I'm sorry.
It's very hard to tell Miss Addison Marie no. It still is. Miss Addison Marie really wanted to go see Cameron and spend the night at the farm. They had been talking about that leading up to this with each other, with my mom, with me, with whoever they could talk to.
But you and your mother eventually reconciled at a bar in Nashville?
That's the first time I saw her after we didn't speak for a long period of time, and I gave her a hug. I don't know if that's correct.
Okay, I have to stop right here because I don't want it to go too far ahead. Let's rewind in our minds a little bit, right? To when the attorney asked him about the relationship between him and Scott. Did y'all pick up what that attorney was putting down? I'm just wondering because that attorney was really setting up like almost like some reasonable doubt or something, right? So he asked him about the status of their relationship. Of course, he started off by saying, okay, well, hey, 1 through 10, how would you rate you and your brother's relationship today? No, today. He act like he didn't know what the hell you talking about, all that, blah, 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 blah. And then he gonna say a 7.5. Okay. So then the attorney backtracked that thing and said, okay, so what would you rate you and Scott's relationship back, around 2018, whenever? And then he want to act all crazy, like he just, I would need some time to think about this. I might have to think about that for a long time. And then he has to go ahead and say, what did he say, y'all? What did he say? What number did he give? He gave something like a 5 or something. And the attorney just let that kind of hang in the air for a split second, right? And immediately my mind, and it looks like y'all mind, we got what he was putting down. We picked it up. To me, he was setting the stage in the picture of, so now after this happened, after your dad is unalived, all of a sudden now y'all close. Now y'all talk more often. Right? And kind of like, y'all talking like, thick, what they say, thick as thieves, thick as unalivers. Okay? I just had to get it out. I just had to. Let's continue. So y'all got it.
But it was I wanted to make things better. I always wanted to make things better with my mother. I wanted a happy family.
But everybody was reconciled by Christmas because you went up there for Christmas that year, 2017.
To the farm? Excuse me, went to the farm for Christmas of 2017.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
So everything was good by 2017 Christmas.
I remember it being good.
Okay. Your mother had forgiven you for wanting her dead.
I'd never wanted my mother dead.
You said that.
I did not say that. I said the next time I see her, basically, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. It's a big difference.
All right. Let's talk about your father's spells. Now, you mentioned you never saw the spells.
No, sir.
But you knew about them from Scott, yes?
I knew about them from my mother and Scott and my sisters, and I think even maybe a little bit from my dad, even though he knew how much I worried about him, and he would kind of keep things. He didn't want me to worry. He knew I had. Yeah.
So you had, multiple interviews in this case, all the way through 2020 with Detective Hayes and Detective Kuykendall. And at one point, you were in an interview with Scott, and you're aware that these spells would happen even when your mother was out of town. Like you knew that. You know that. It wasn't just after he would eat a plate of food from your.
The plate of food thing was just talking about that last instance before he's in the hospital. Like he never told me anything about the spells before, like if they were around her or not around her, if she was out of town, things like that.
Right. But you knew that the spells would happen even when she was out of town. Even with Rusty. If she was with Rusty. Which, by the way, everybody knew about Rusty, right? And we'll come back
Suspicion.
Suspicion, but other people knew. Scott knew.
Mhm.
Terry Brazel knew. Everybody knew.
Apparently so. Yeah.
Okay. Because your parents lived a separate life. Top of the house, bottom of the house. And you knew that.
Sorry
You
for
may
the
not have liked
phrases.
it, but you knew it, yes?
To some degree, they lived a separate life. Yeah.
Yeah. You got any objections?
I do want to talk about.
We need to take the jury out. Okay. This is the part where they
They just doing that so he can calm down on that stand. I'm gonna start saying, I'm having spells, right?
An exhibit. I don't have an issue with the content, but I wanted to bring up a little bit.
We should do this outside
Yes.
the presence of the jury.
Thank you, Judge.
Now, let's see what this is. I think it's about that woman. Wait a minute. So while they doing this, baby, did y'all see when Melody almost started bust out laughing at his ass on that stand? I can't remember what he was saying. Was it about the drinking or something? I can't remember. However, at some point in time, he sounded so ridiculous. His mama almost bust out laughing. She had to catch herself. Did y'all see that? I'm sure y'all did. That was funny. I can't remember what he was saying though.
Before we get to the, I did want to go back and ask you about.
Yeah, old ladies have spells. Oh, I had caught me a spell.
Yes, Judge, and I have no objection to him using those exhibits.
All right.
I'm currently running a new one for that.
What it about? And y'all see how this attorney caught it, just like what we were saying, right? How he just throw them kids off on his mama. And then he try to demean her like the only reason why his children want to be around her is because that's where the money is. Boy, boom. Girl, is that him making all that noise on the stand? Yeah, we're gonna go to 2 hours and 30 minutes. It's 2 hours now, and then we'll go ahead and end it. Okay. Girl, what is that? Oh, the credit card part. Oh, I keep hollering. I don't know why. I guess I'm getting excited. Shoot. All right, let's be patient.
All right, Mr. Hoover, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get things settled.
Well, before I get to this exhibit, I did want to go back and ask you about the spells one more time. So your dad was not a healthy guy. He had a CPAP machine, yes?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to factor in a few other things. He drank a lot of Mountain Dew. You knew that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many cans a day would you say?
I would say at a minimum 2, at least.
Okay.
More than that, probably, but I don't know how many.
And you knew him to be a multiple pack a day Marlboro smoker.
Multiple, I don't know, but I would say he smoked frequently.
Okay. Well, this jury has seen a picture of a trash can that was full of nothing but Mountain Dew and cigarettes.
Sure.
Okay. So you wouldn't describe him as the picture of health.
No, sir.
Okay. So it's reasonable that he could be having some health issues based on these spells.
Sure. I mean, that's what I initially thought they were from.
Okay. I want to talk to you now about, so kind of generally the summer of 2018 and before we get to the condo trip down in Gulf Shores.
Okay.
But I want to talk about your access to your father's money. You said yesterday you had a credit card and his credit card number.
Yeah.
All right. And you said something to the effect of, I had his credit card number and I used it and he'd get mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so I want to show you what is now being marked as Chris 2.
Okay.
And I would ask to admit that over no objection. That's Chris 2. All right. And
okay.
Can you, the phone number, source address 678-59. Right. And your phone number was 40. Right?
Let us get his social security number. Stop tripping.
This is on June the 12th of 2018. Mm-hmm. He sends you this message that says, what?
Your stealing money is out of control. I will change my accounts tomorrow.
Okay. So what happened there? Did you ever talk to him on the phone about that or anything else?
I don't remember. I never talked to him on the phone about it.
What did you do? I mean, if my dad accused me of stealing money, I think I'd be shocked.
Well, my dad, he could cut pretty deep with his words when he was upset with me.
All right. So what did you do?
I don't remember.
All right. Because you'd used his credit card before without his permission, as you said yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying this, and the statute of limitations is long past. That's a felony, right?
I'm not an attorney. I'm not law enforcement. I don't know.
You take somebody's credit card and you spend their money without their permission. That's a theft, right?
Yeah, but he would also allow me to use it too. So, I guess, I don't know.
Okay.
How much stealing do you have to do before it becomes out of control stealing?
Now,
if you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill.
June went on and you kind of talked about the condo trip. Mm-hmm. And maybe that was something that you were trying to help make up with your dad after this fight about him accusing you of stealing his money.
No, that was not the reason.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show you some text messages. I've got them marked Chris 3, Chris 4, and Chris 5. And I'm just going to, it's between you and your dad.
Okay.
So this is about a week and a half, 10 days after the stealing message. Mm-hmm. So from you to your dad.
This attorney is so messy.
404.
The source? Oh,
yeah. You see that?
Right. Okay, I see. I'm sorry.
All right. So
he said this is right after the stealing message.
VRBO link.
Correct. Yeah.
Verbo. I don't know what it's called. Which one is it? Is it just called VRBO?
I think it's VRBO.
Okay. All right. All right. So the next message, and that was sent on 6/22 at 15:57, probably UTC time. So we'll have to get into all that later. But is your dad responding, saying, "I like that
mm-hmm.
building"?
Yeah.
Right. Because he tasked you with getting a condo picked out. He was going to buy it. All right. So what's the next message?
From me?
Yep.
It says, well, yeah. I mean, I think that was it's a building in Gulf Shores. Or Orange Beach. It's like, well, yeah, it is a nice building.
Okay. What kind of building? How big was it? I mean, you said it was.
Oh, well, there were two buildings we were looking at, so I'm not exactly sure. I don't have I have the link to it, but there was the turquoise and there was the Phoenix. Both are nice, so I don't know which one. But they're big. I mean,
Yeah, they are big. And in one of the you were interviewed many times by Hayes and Kuykendall. In one of the interviews, I believe you used the word that this was a place that I could never have afforded, but Dad bought it for us.
Well, rented it.
Rented, yeah,
Right, yeah.
right, rented it. And you offered in this message, I believe you say, go ahead and say what you said.
Said if you get the condo, I'll cover the dinners out and fishing if we want to go.
Okay. Starting at the top. This one, I believe, maybe it was a picture or something that didn't come through. It's a blank, so I'll move down. And you say, it's you saying, I can look at other condos? Does that look like?
Yeah.
Okay. And this, Your Honor, would be Chris 4. Any more thoughts on the beach? That's you to your dad?
Yeah.
So-
Source. That's, yeah.
Okay, so had that kind of conversation go dark, because this appears to be 6/26, so 4 days after. Like you and your dad hadn't talked about it, he hadn't brought it up to you.
Sure. My dad's a very busy man. So it wasn't weird for him not to get back to me on certain things.
Okay. And it looks like, I guess he didn't respond. And then you say, that's from you, right? Any
Yeah.
other thoughts on going to the Gulf?
Yeah.
Okay. This is from your dad to you. He finally responds and says, talk tonight.
Mhm.
And then you say, good place? Or he says that?
Source address. That's me saying good place. I don't. Oh, you know what? I know what that's about.
Okay. What's that about?
It's a place in it's called Adele's. I don't know if it's still open. It used to be a really good Cajun place in downtown Roswell. I think because I was supposed to go eat with him on his birthday, and then I had to work late and ended up not being able to go.
And what was his birthday?
It's right there. It's June 27th.
Okay. So that was his birthday that day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is your dad saying, I didn't have a chance to look at any more condo, or is that you? To your dad.
That's me.
Okay. Then you follow up with sent a link to a condo last night.
That would be the following day. So yeah, I guess on the 28th, I did have a chance to, look.
And we're and timeline wise, just for perspective for the jury, we are now within the last week of your father's life at this point.
Yes, we are.
Okay. And then
He pushed that trip on his dad.
Who said what there?
It looks like I texted him. I would say book through the 11th or 12th, arrive on the 7th. So get there on the 7th, and we'd leave on like the 11th or 12th.
Yeah. So this is again a message from you to your dad. Could you read it?
7th through 11th are available dates. So just do that.
So you send him the link. He puts in the credit card information and books it.
Yes.
That's how that went.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then he says,
I booked it.
and you say,
Great. Will be fun.
you would, of all the children, you would use your father's money the most, would you not?
I don't know that. I mean, doesn't seem an unreasonable thing to say. You know, I was the only one with children, and he, like I said yesterday, he helped out a lot with that kind of stuff.
Well, who else? I mean, would you say you or Scott received the most from your father?
I have no idea. I mean, Scott never went to college. I did. My dad paid for it. I mean, I don't know the numbers.
Okay. But if you had to say for this jury, you or Scott received the most money from your dad, who would it be?
I don't know.
All right, let's move to June or July the 3rd. Well, no, scratch that. Let's back up and go to the birthday weekend. So birthday weekend, everybody's there. Everything's normal. Yes?
Normal for us. Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. And you know, you say normal for y'all were, it has been used and alluded to this term of a Ferris wheel. Have you ever heard that phrase?
No.
The drama of the Ferris wheel.
No.
You've never heard that?
No, sir.
Well, you've heard it now. So why was it not normal for you then that weekend?
What do you mean?
You said it was normal for us, but not normal.
Well, my father had communicated to me how upset that my mother was that we were going to the beach. So there was some tension there. You know, he didn't want me to really talk about it because she was very pissed off.
Right. Because less than a month before, you had been caught stealing off of their credit card.
Wait, can you explain what?
Oh, I'll ask it again. So, you make it unreasonable that your mother would be upset that your dad has bought you a trip to go to the beach, but a month before, you were stealing from your parents. So what
Okay.
it's not unreasonable for your mother to be agitated at that point.
Well, I think what was kind of funny to me was I talked to my
It's killing me how this attorney keep driving home the fact that he ain't nothing but a down low rotten thief.
mother about it, and she never said anything to me about my dad wanted her to go. I wanted my mom to go. Well, kind of. I wanted my mom to go because my dad wanted my mom to go so badly. He said, you know, we've been through all this. I still love her. And I asked my mother, I said, hey, we're going to just come on, you know? And she's like, well, I've got stuff to do. She never said, no, I'm not going because you stole money from us. She never said that to me.
She never said that to you.
Right.
But that's a reasonable thought.
I guess it could be reasonable. I mean,
Yes?
guess what?
It's reasonable?
I guess a certain person maybe could think it's reasonable. I'll give you that.
Okay. Other than that weekend, y'all did the normal stuff. Y'all rode around on the RTV.
Yeah.
Did y'all grill out?
My brother smoked some barbecue.
Yeah. Birthday cake.
I'm sure yeah, my dad was a big fan of caramel cake. Yeah, there was probably one involved.
Grandma cooked a big spread.
I think she made the side items.
Good side of it. Coleslaw, things like that.
Yeah, we'd have coleslaw.
Your mom was a good cook.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So was that the Saturday of that weekend or Sunday, which we've actually got a. So it would have been Saturday, Sunday, July the 1st, or Saturday.
I believe it was Saturday.
Okay. How long were y'all there that day?
Oh, I would say, because I went to Academy to get his gift. Got there, I'd say for at least a couple hours.
All right. And Amanda and Chad were there.
Yes, sir.
And Cameron?
I can't remember that for the life of me, but I kind of think she might have been. I just don't remember.
So Emily and Chris were there.
Yeah.
Chris Payne and Olivia, the
Yes.
baby. How old was Olivia at that point?
She wasn't even a year old yet. She was still in a bouncer, like bouncing around. And I remember recording videos of. So she wasn't even a year old.
Okay. And the girls were obviously still up in Maine.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Coming down on Tuesday. So anybody else there? Scott
Scott
bring
was
a
there.
date. Bring a
Scott was
friend.
there. I think Ted, his friend, was there.
Ted Pierce.
Yeah.
Okay. Who we play golf with a lot.
Yeah.
Did you know Ted?
Yeah.
Did you ever play golf with Ted?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
A few times.
Who's a better golfer, you, Ted, or Scott?
I would say me.
But of course,
How much would you say that your brother would play golf or like that?
I know he'd go play golf with his friends a lot more than me. I was always trying to get him to play, but our schedules, it was hard for me to play a lot as much as I
ain't golf
I
expensive?
know he played with his friends.
Like a lot,
good
like
bit.
every week.
Oh, I don't know that. To me, a lot is playing every month. Once a month, to me, is a lot. So.
All right. So on the 3rd, which would have been that Tuesday, which I can't even see that myself. So that would have been. So what did you do that Monday on the 2nd?
I don't remember. It was a holiday week, so I don't remember if I worked or what. I don't remember.
Right. So the 3rd,
You ain't work.
That was when you went to Hartsville Jackson to pick up your daughters.
That is
Still
correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what time was that flight?
Well, flights that leave Maine usually leave at like 6 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes they get delayed, but they're usually about 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
So what time did they get to Atlanta at what time?
They would land. I would have to go in through security, depending on. It would probably be between around 9 a.m.
And you basically already said that there was kind of a plan that the girls were going to split up and go in kind of their own, one to hang out with Cameron. Who
Sure.
was going to hang out with Cameron? That was going to be Addison?
Yes.
Okay. And then Ella was going to go hang out with
Emma.
Emma,
Mhm.
who was Terry Brazel's daughter.
Correct.
Is Terry Brazel's daughter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But over at his ex's house in Cumming.
Well, that's where I dropped her off. She was a horse trainer, and
Right.
they had this facility somewhere over there, and she was all really excited to go. Like they were gonna have a.
So he didn't
sleepover at
even
the
know
facility
exactly
and
what a
the
horse
horses-
place
yeah.
was, but his
So
daughter
you
went
took her
spent
up
the
there?
night.
I
Got
did.
you.
Like as soon as y'all landed?
Got you.
No,
Okay. Where was it? Did Addison drive up there with you to drop her off? Or
Yeah.
did you leave her with Jenna?
no, she rode with me. Jenna was at work that day.
So refresh, you've been testifying now for a while.
Yes, sir.
So let's make sure we can get our timelines right. What did you do next after you drop her off?
After I dropped Ella off,
Yes.
I remember backing out of the driveway and literally picking up the phone and calling my father.
All right. And what did your dad say?
He said, I said, what are you doing? He said, well, working. I said, oh, cool. I was like, on your way back, you want to get dinner? I thought he meant at the office. He said, oh, no, I'm working at the farm.
Right. And that was when they were pulling up, I believe there was the rose bushes, things like that.
There were some bushes in the back. I just remember them, not rose bushes, but I think box because they had boxwoods behind the house, and they would they're my dog I think would actually urinate on them, and that might have been why they died. But I remember something of the conversation about that, but they were dead shrubs in the back of the RTV.
So he said, but him and your mother were doing yard work that day, which is not unusual, right?
Oh, that's not unusual.
That's what they did. And they did it together, right?
Maybe. I don't know. He never.
Okay.
I never saw them doing it together, doing it apart. I just know what I saw that day, and it was him by himself when I pulled up.
At that moment. But that was later on. That's about 5:30.
Well, I mean, that's maybe 20 minutes after that phone call I had with him.
So they're pulling up boxwoods that day, and Addison had texted Grandma,
Yeah.
and Grandma said she's busy, and they're working in the yard, something to that effect, but come over tomorrow.
I'd have to see those text messages. I don't know.
You don't know for sure?
I know she said
How
I'm busy.
convenient.
I don't know if she said you come tomorrow. I don't know.
Come tomorrow?
The part about
Huh.
I'm busy is the part I remember. The other stuff about, oh, you can't come because we're working in the yard, or you can't come, or you can come tomorrow. That part, I don't know. The part of I'm busy, I know.
So
But if you have them, I'd be glad to.
how about this? You don't know, and that's a fine answer. But you
Oh,
don't.
no. I know the part about I'm busy because Addison told me.
Right?
Yeah.
But she came over Grandma made it a point the next day. Addison's coming over with Cameron.
Made it a point, like on the file,
The next
because
day on the 4th.
I just want to make sure I'm clear on what
Absolutely.
you're asking me. You know, did she say on the 3rd? I don't
don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
All right, but on the 4th, she made sure that Addison was coming over with Cameron.
Yeah, she called me and said, hey, if she still want to have the sleepover.
And Addison goes by Addie, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's just call her Addie.
Yeah, that's fine.
Make sure she'd come over the next day.
She called me on the 4th of July to say, hey, does she still want to have the sleepover tonight?
Yeah.
I went, Addie's swimming in the pool. I said, hey, do you still want to go over there? Oh, yeah. I took her over there.
All right, so then you get up to the your parents' house, the farm.
Yeah.
About
I went to
5?
Wendy's to get her dinner. Then I came to the farm.
And because she just wanted to see Grandma real quick. Is that why? Or Big Daddy and Grandma? Addison?
Oh, you're talking about on the 3rd.
On the 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm bounced around.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My father had just seen Ella in May because Ella had come down. He hadn't seen Addie since Christmas.
Since Christmas.
And so we're like 15, 20 minutes from, if even that, from the farm. So I was like, hey, had that conversation with him. I wanted her to go see her grandfather. I wanted her grandfather to see her.
So if they only 15, 20 minutes away from the farm, why was it such a big deal to bring your daughter on July 4th when your mama said bring her? It was such an inconvenience, but then to go see about the same place to see your dad, then it's no problem. What boo? Welcome to the lounge.
And
none of us like him.
My mother too.
Right.
But I didn't know my mom was there.
Right. Because she was working. You just don't know.
I just didn't know. Yeah.
Didn't. But didn't y'all all walk over as a family that day to the barn to look at the ducks?
I drove my truck from the house to the barn. I think either Addie rode in the truck with me or she walked with my mom. My dad drove the RTV. But yeah, I mean, we all went from the house to the barn to look at the ducks.
But everything seemed perfectly normal that day.
I mean, nothing at that time, nothing stood out to me that wasn't normal. I mean, there was one thing that seemed not normal.
He tried too hard for me.
Well, anytime my daughters asked my mom to come over there to spend the night or anything, she would jump at the opportunity to have that. And this time she said, no, I'm busy. And that just was that had never happened before. Like, I'd almost have to tell my mom, hey, back off. Like, I want to spend some time with my kids. And that's great. She loved my children. My children loved her. I love that, loved that.
But working in the yard and it was hot that day, yes?
Oh, yeah, it was hot.
Hot that day. It's not unreasonable for someone to say, we'll do it tomorrow. I'm doing yard work today. That is not an unreasonable thing to say. It's not.
It wouldn't be an unreasonable thing for me to say,
This is just your interpretation.
Right.
After years and everything that's happened. So let's do this. You were never, really no one was ever asked until about 2019, 2020, what your dad was wearing that day.
Mm-hmm.
What was the last thing? You remember finally somebody asked you, what was your dad wearing?
Yeah.
What was your dad wearing?
My dad, when he would work in the yard, would wear, or when I say the yard, it's a farm. Okay. So it's not like mowing the grass. I mean, there's things to do. He would wear long pants, almost like cargo pants. You like the type you get it like
Not Carhartt, but just cargo.
cargo.
Okay.
I don't know what brand, but outdoorish wear. And then I just remember him wearing it wasn't a t-shirt. It was like almost, those fishing shirts that.
Like a Huck shirt, something like that?
It wasn't a Huck shirt, but I would have known if it was a Huck shirt. I like Huck shirts, but it wasn't, maybe like a Columbia.
Something like that.
Yes.
PFG, some kind of shirt like that.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. And what was your mom wearing?
I don't remember really. See, when you're thinking about these things back and forth and people are asking you, try to remember.
You want to know something? Nobody's ever asked you. Nobody's ever asked you or anybody what your mother was wearing that
I
day.
think somebody asked me that.
Well, what was she wearing?
Well, I don't really remember.
Okay. And so what was your last memory and interaction with your father?
Yeah.
I said, we'll see you. Maybe we can go watch fireworks. And they,
What lady you could say, wah.
Take
My
time.
bad.
my last thing I said to my father was, all right, well, we're going to go back to Buckhead and, maybe we can go, see the fireworks tomorrow night or something like that. And I don't remember even what he said. I wish I did. That's all I remember.
But you do remember he was preparing a burn pile. A
Yeah,
large burn
preparing.
pile.
Oh yeah, he told me he was. He's like, I'm getting that ready to burn. I said, when are you gonna burn it? Tomorrow.
That evening you left and you went with Addie.
T-Law, don't come up here with this shit.
Pokeball. And take your time.
I don't know the name of the restaurant, but yeah,
I believe yesterday you said it was the Pokeball.
it's a poke bowl restaurant.
Oh, okay.
But it could be poke fin, poke what, I don't remember the
And you
exact
paid in
name.
cash.
I either paid or Jenna paid, or Jenna was with us. I might have paid in cash. I don't remember.
And are you still married to Jenna?
No.
So y'all went back to your apartment. Is the Pokeball in the same building as the condo?
Oh no. Poke bowls at Peachtree Battle and Peachtree Street intersect. The Poke Bowl restaurant was.
And then y'all went back, and what happened?
After Poke Bowl, I know we went and got ice cream. They have these rolled ice cream places, and I always, like to take my kids to like cool places like that, and where they, freeze it and roll it, and they make it all fancy. So we went and got ice cream.
Like Cold Stone Creamery used to be, or maybe still is.
It's like Sub-Zero. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's not important. But we went and got ice cream. And then we went back to the condo.
Okay. And what time did you go to bed?
I remember I watched Jaws that night.
Jaws 1, 2, or 3?
Probably 1, because that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I don't remember what time I went to bed.
Okay.
But you do remember that you.
Boom. And so that's where we're going to pause it at, and let me. Day 4. Hold on, you guys. I'm trying to get to my StreamYard. I was hoping we was going to get through his testimony. We about sick of him. Okay. But the cross-examination is just too, you never know what this guy going to pull out the bag, right? Shout out to Lady D. So tonight, what do we think? What's the general consensus tonight? Now that we heard more from Chris, we heard his description of when he got to when he arrived to the farm and found how they found the daddy body. The most talk that we were seeing that I saw in the chat when he was describing going to the farm that day and looking for his dad on the property, what the chat really talked about the fact that he kept looking for his daddy wallet. That's the most chat I've seen about his testimony about that. I know that he was real judgmental about how his mama acted when it happened, but it didn't seem like he was all broken apart or nothing else. So Betty Boop, I feel the same way. She needs to get a new trial. I just do not think that she did this. If I was the juror, I would not trust his testimony and therefore discount it, right? Miss Steph 2 and I say, yes, I'm sick of him, right? I'm not trusting him. Me either. At this point in time, he's literally the adage of if you lie, you steal, you kill. Thank you, Unbothered, for real, for bringing that to my mind. Okay, because that's exactly, he embodies that, and then with his crying, and I mean, hey, let me not be so skeptical. Let me not be so, cynical about him, right? His daddy is deceased. This is a horrible thing. So yes, of course he has a right to his emotions, and some of them can be genuine, right? But I feel like even though he genuinely is saddened by these things and feel emotions, I feel like he puts on 20 on 10. I feel like he gets extra dramatic with it. The fact of how his selective memory. And then another thing is he never misses an opportunity to bad talk his mom, to insinuate something negative about his mom. Even when it's a situation where it's not even necessary, he takes each and every opportunity while at the same time trying to build his dad up to be a saint. And then how he acts, and he would come across like the stuff that he said his dad was confiding in him. It's just so weird. If you saying out of one breath that your dad just loved your mom so much and was still wanting it to work out, how does that correlate to your dad still love your mom so much he really wanted her to go on a trip, to your mom makes me miserable, and he talks so bad about your mom? Which one is it? But I guess two things can be true at the same time. And then there's that he don't even change his clothes. Ever since his daddy been alive, now all of a sudden he can't even afford a different change of clothes. This the next day, and he got on the same exact clothes that he had on yesterday. Everybody else in the court didn't change their clothes. There is so much reasonable doubt, because also we learned from tonight in his testimony, I have tears too when I cry. Also, I learned that when he said he first saw that burn pile a few days before, whatever, when he was riding that RT, whatever that thing is, that thing, ATV, whatever it's called. When he was riding that, he said that burn pile was over 6 feet tall. So therefore, the reasonable doubt. Okay, let's say she shot him. Let's say she used the whole tractor let's say she shot the man, like they saying. She got his body from downstairs in the basement up those narrow stairs by herself with only one drop of not blood. They couldn't even get a positive test on that one drop of blood. She takes that 6 foot tall man, 200-something pound man, up the stairs, through the kitchen, out the house, put his body on a tractor, let's say a tractor or whatever, drive it to wherever the wood pile was over by the barn, lifts the body up 200 pounds of nothing but dead weight, and puts it on top of a 6 foot tall burn pile. Okay. They convicted that woman because she liked effing around all around town. Right, because of her character and what they think of her as being improper morals, right? Like she or using woman, you know, a gold digger or something. Then he didn't change his clothes. Oh, I read that. Not at all. That's why you should never tell your kids personal stuff about your marriage. Exactly. Facts. Exactly. But didn't know that his brother suffers from PTSD. He is lying. Oh, the whole time through. Hell, his daddy ain't even there by his clothes. So I said that same thing, girl, Jinx. He probably was telling his dad things about his mom to cause division between his parents. Right. And they call that type of thing staff splitting. You know, y'all might have heard me use that term over the years, staff splitting. I learned that in rehab. You know, that's when you try to pit one authoritative figure against another authoritative figure, right? Staff splitting. And he definitely was trying to do that, right? But if he's honest about what he said about how his dad talked to him, then that means his dad was literally sitting there for a long time, poisoning his thoughts and his emotions against his mama. You know? So we're going to pick up here tomorrow night, you guys, and get through this. The next person to testify is one of the sisters. And then they put up Scott. Now, I want to show y'all. I got something to show y'all, a little bit of personal over here on Trial Watch with Demetra for our new jurors, just so y'all can get to know me a little bit better. So I have this dog named Rock. I've been having him for a few years, and I love him, and he's a trip. But we just recently got a little puppy. This week, he'll be 7 weeks on Wednesday, and Rock and him are trying to get to know each other, right? So I took a picture. Let me show you guys. Child, this was one of the first time they were standing by each other peacefully. So there go my two boys, Rock and Apollo. And I had to take this picture because I was like, oh, let me take a picture. They standing by each other. You know. And this was also when I decided I'm not going to have either one of their ass on my bed, okay? Already me letting Rock on my bed is too much, but having two dogs, oh, no. I can't have two dogs in my bed. Oh, my God. My man probably won't never come over here again. He don't like me letting Rock on the bed, you know? But I just thought this was just so cute. So I just wanted to go out with something positive, let y'all see my boys, and that's what I call them, my boys, my big boy and my baby boy. And that's what I'm going to go do, play with them. Earlier today, when we was in the middle of watching that interrogation, I had a hot mic, right? I had forgot to hit mute. And some of y'all heard me. I'm talking about, I love you, Rock. Girl, I stay reinforcing my love for Rock. I tell him I love him all day. I rub him all day. You know, I ain't gonna even lie. I give him kisses all day and say, you know, I love you. So, anywho, little lady jury box, this was a great time, a great court session, but we are now adjourned. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow night in the jury box at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll be live on tomorrow, probably with crime news, okay, at noon. All right, y'all. Peace.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Like, comment and share. See you next time.